Hey there! Well, welcome to the channel where you will find love, laughs, and DIYs. My name is Crafty Kathy, and I'm so happy and thankful that you came to craft with me today. I do want to remind you that our new video days are going to be Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Central Time, and I would love it if you would subscribe if you haven't become a part of our family yet. And don't forget to hit the like button because it really helps me out on YouTube. Now let's get into this video. The first one that I'm starting on is this old little wooden swing. It actually belonged to a neighbor of mine. It looked like it had been outside for many, many years. You can put flowers in it or you can put bird seed in it and feed your birds. But I had to definitely redo this one because I had plans for it. I took it outside and gave it 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum 2 times in a flat matte white. While the swing was outside drying, I took my color called Apothecary by DIY Paint, and it had become nothing but a little lump in the very bottom. I'm down to my last little bit. I've got to contact Miss Lori to get some more. And I've got one of these little birds that came from the Dollar General. They're only $1, and I get a bunch of them every spring, and I use them in a lot of DIYs. So if you find these at the dollar store, grab them. They're at Dollar General. And I just kind of went over my little bird who was already painted a yellow color, but I went over him with that color Apothecary, and then I let him dry. I was going to use the other bird that you see there that I had bought in the summertime, or actually it may have been fall when all the spring stuff at Hobby Lobby was like 95% off. I got that other one for about $1, and it's really pretty the way it is, but I didn't end up using it. I went over the tip of his beak and his little feet with some watered down antique wax. Now it was very watered down because I only wanted a hint of a brownish color. I would dab a little bit on the end of his little beak and also on his feet and kind of use my fingertips to rub it in. And then I took my DIY white wax and I put it all over my bird and I wiped off the excess with a baby wipe. I've got a beautiful napkin here, and we're going to do some decoupage. I really miss decoupaging when I don't do it often. Now, this napkin had 3 plies on it. I just put a little bit of the liquid patina on my fingers, and it helps me to separate so I can get down to that 1 ply that I want. I just wet the end of my paintbrush, and I go all the way around the pattern where I want to kind of tear it off. Because you know me, when I'm decoupaging, I do not like any kind of straight edges. I like it all to be kind of, torn, because it's just a more natural look and it turns out beautiful every time. But you just wet it with a paintbrush and it rips right off there very easily. I've got my little chair back inside and I'm going to use DIY liquid patina. It's just like Mod Podge, it's just thinner. And I like it better. I say that every time, I know. But I just put it down in sections and I lay my napkin down. Now, since this napkin is so thin, it did try to wrinkle on me. But the way that you do not get any wrinkles is if you work in small sections and use that saran wrap. You have to use that saran wrap or you're for sure going to get wrinkles with a napkin. And most of the time, if you use the saran wrap, and you just take your time, you can get the wrinkles out. You just kind of use your finger like an iron, and you think about it, the heat from your finger is like almost ironing out those wrinkles. You see here I go in very small sections. After that first one, I thought I better just do like one little piece at a time instead of trying to do 3 or 4 of those pieces of the back of that swing at once. So I just kind of did each one, and it gave me better control and less wrinkles. Now, if you'll notice, whenever I'm going down through here, I put my liquid patina down, and I always try to lay my napkin down kind of in the center of that napkin first and work my way you know, upward and downward in this case, because that's the main part you want to be perfect is the center, and then you can kind of work out the rest if there are any wrinkles or any imperfections. So I just went over it and I finished all the way to the end using my saran wrap on every single one of these little pieces of the back of that chair. Now we're going to do that burn method. So I just took my X-Acto knife, and in the middle parts where I'm going to burn, you just poke like little holes in it so that the fire will have some way to come up through there. You just go where you have the little holes at, and then you just light it, and it's going to burn everywhere around where that Mod Podge is. Now, there's not any Mod Podge in the middle of those this is hard to explain, but in the middle there where the napkin is being burned, there is obviously no Mod Podge on it, so that's the part that burns. It stops on the edge of each of those little things where the Mod Podge is. Roxy was helping me do the next step here. She jumped up on the table. I had to play with her for a minute. And all I did is after I burnt that, I just take a dry paintbrush and kind of brush over it, and it gets any of the little kind of burnt ends off of it. And that's all you do. It's so easy to burn your napkins like that, and it makes it perfect every time. You don't have to sand at all. I went to my Cricut because this is going to hang outside as you walk in my door, and it's got my address on it. And so I put the 4 ones and a 6, and I'm just pulling that off. Next, I've got these little paper flowers. I found these at the thrift store for either 50 cents or $1, and they came from Hobby Lobby. They were originally like $12.99, and they're just like little paper flowers. They kind of look like the Sola wood flowers, but they're in pieces, and you piece them together however you want them. I found a couple of the little buds that I thought was really pretty together, and I just glued them with my Star Bond glue and the accelerator because we're going to place this up at the top. Now, I used this really good glue because this is going to be outside, and I wanted to make sure that it's going to hold up in the weather. Then I used some of the Star Bond glue on the little bird. I just put the actual glue on him, and then you put the accelerator on the piece that you're sticking him in. I wanted him right in the front of the swing, right over my address there. And then the next step that I did was take my little flower and do the same thing with the Star Bond glue. I'm going to glue it in the upper left-hand corner of my little swing. I've got some Totally Dazzled jewels, and I'm going to take one of them that's in the shape of a little flower, and I'm going to put it right in the center of my little flower. And I'm going to use my Star Bond glue to place it there. Now is the perfect time to remind you, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that red subscribe button and become a part of our family. And hit the like button. Then I painted it in the color Apothecary. And then after that, while it's still wet, I'm going to very lightly dust over it with my diamond glitter that I get from Walmart that I like so much. It's that extra fine diamond glitter. And then I just put the little hangers back on here, and this is what it looks like. You can use it as a bird feeder, or since it already has the little holes in it, you can put real plants in the spring. I hope you like it. I forgot to mention I had a little LED vine that has 20 little lights in it, and I just kind of wound that around the chair too. The next one that I have, I figured that I'm going to do a little bit more Valentine DIYs this year because I don't normally decorate my home for Valentine's. I've always thought that Valentines in the store kind of look almost cheapish, and so I'm going to try to do some that's for all different crafter levels, and you know, just like beginners all the way up to some really shabby chic, pretty intricate stuff. But this one is super easy. I just have these hearts from the Dollar Tree, And they have those little prongs all over them, and I'm going to leave the prongs on them because they're actually going to help us out. But I'm just taking this tinsel off, and what I do is I just cut it, and it actually just comes off from the front. You don't have to unwind it, and it's really easy to take off. I took the form outside and I spray painted it a silver color. And this is going to be real easy. I have some gray yarn that's from Walmart. It's that chunky yarn, and it's just the Walmart brand. It's usually about $6 for a big old skein of it like this. But I mean, it lasts you for a really long time, and you can use it on a lot of different projects. I just cut a piece of it off so that I wouldn't have to keep winding it so much through here. It was really easy to stick and stay in place because those prongs held it in place. I think if you were to go through and cut off all those little prongs on the side, that it would like slide around after you had your yarn on there. So these did help to keep it in place. So I would suggest that you probably should keep it on there if you try this. Now, the little rings that were holding these together just unsnapped, so I unsnapped each one of them, and you see all I'm doing is just winding it around. I started at the bottom in the little center part down there, and all I did was just put a little dab of glue to get started on the back, and then I didn't put any more glue the rest of the way because those prongs held it on. I left that little bottom part exposed that you can make a, that you can hook it onto stuff with because we're going to need that. And I just put a little dab of glue and cut off the excess, and this is what it looks like. I'm not really sure why I recorded this in slow motion, but it's probably good that I did because I'm just showing you here is the finished piece. And what I did was just take 3 pieces, and I also ran those pieces through those little holes that I told you that I left exposed and just hung those on there. I literally just glued them together, so that they would stay. And that's all I did there. I think glitter is always pretty too at Valentine's Day, and I had these cute little gnome pieces. I had ordered these off of Amazon last year, and they're just little gnome wood pieces. And what I'm going to do here is just use a little bit of my liquid patina, and I am going to use some glitter to accentuate these. Anywhere where I wanted to put some of that red beautiful glitter, like on the word love, I just outlined it with my liquid patina and just put a little bit of the glitter on there so it would stick. I went all around the little area on their hats too, except for where the little white hearts are. And I know their hats are pink, but I wanted them to have the red glitter on them so that everything would match. And then I went over a couple of the little hearts too. I finished off this one by covering up her little hat and the sides of her little dress there and all over the top portion where the hearts were. And if you're not really into glitter, you can just totally omit this step. But to me, I think the glitter takes it up a notch and it makes it stick out more and it makes it just really bright and vibrant. I didn't put too much on there, and you just turn it over and tap it and it falls away from anywhere where you didn't want the glitter to be. On the next little guy, I did the exact same thing with him. I accentuated all the red areas on his hat, the stripes, and those were really quick and easy to go over with the liquid patina. And then he had like a little present that he was holding that was kind of a hot pink color, and I filled that in with my extra fine diamond glitter. And then I just filled in his little feet with the red color. I took some of my flowers that I got off of Amazon and I clipped them with about an inch with the back sticking out so that I could poke it through those holes. I really didn't want to use a lot of glue because I wanted to be able to use this yarn again if I wanted to. So I did that in those, and if I did have to use glue, I would literally just use like a pea size amount. And then I just took my two little ornaments that I have that I put the glitter on, and I'm going to place those in the middle there. And since I had to use some of the glue, I figured that I might as well just go ahead and do it the way I wanted to. And I had some of this garland that came from Dollar Tree, or it's called garland. It was actually on a ribbon spool, and it came with 2 feet of it. And so I counted it, how many beads there were, so I would know how to split it up exactly or evenly into 3s. And I cut those off, and I would put just a little pea size amount of glue for each little red pearl, and I would put it down and just tack those all over the fronts of my little hearts. I'm not particularly crazy about the whole gnome craze that has went on the past few years, but I've noticed that there's a lot of gnomes in the Valentine Day decor, and I don't mind it at all. I think it's really cute. And I hope you like this one. This is how it turned out, and I think it'd be really cute in maybe a hallway. You probably think I'm hurting, but darling, I'll be fine. It's just a little heartbreak, and heartbreak fades with time. You probably think I'm broken, I swear that I'm alright. It's just a little heartbreak, and heartbreak fades with time. You probably think I'm hurt. Now the last one is real sweet and simple. I have yet another gnome, and this one is from the Dollar Tree. It's one of the little gnomes that they had, and I had a cute little idea for him. So I just took the piece of a napkin, and it's the blank piece that I pulled off from that napkin that we did with the first DIY, and I'm just tracing his little hands, and then I traced his nose on the same napkin. And I have some basswood that I got from the Hobby Lobby. It came in a package. It was maybe $4 for a bunch of different sizes and pieces. And I took that napkin and I just kind of traced it over that basswood. And it's so thin. The material of the basswood is almost like cardboard, is kind of the way it feels. Now, it's a wood, but it's really hard to explain. Like, you can literally break it with your hands. It's so easy to maneuver. And so when I just traced that, it made the pattern in it. And then I just went over it with my X-Acto knife and I cut out his little hands. And then later I cut out his nose. I was trying to be careful and not cut myself, so it did take a couple of passes before I got all the way through. And like I said, it's really easy to maneuver and manipulate this wood. And I was afraid I was going to break it in half, and in the end, I ended up breaking it in half. But the texture of this wood, it's so easy. I just put a little bit of glue on it and stuck it right back together, and you would never know the difference. So I cut out both of his little hands and his nose, and it had some little edges on it. So I just took my little zipper sander and I just went around all the way around it, and I just made it nice and smooth. I took one of my Arteza markers, and it was a really pretty kind of magenta color almost, because I wanted to brighten up that pink that was in his hat. And I definitely do like that color better. So all I did was just trace over the pink areas, and while it was wet, I used my extra fine diamond glitter to make it all glittery too, so that his whole little hat would match. I was careful to take my time and just be, careful and precise and go over all the lines really nice. And it changed the color of the pink in his hat, which I like that magenta color so much better. And I just love the way that the glitter comes out on his hat. I used the liquid patina and traced all the way around his beard, And I used that extra fine diamond glitter all over it too, because I thought, what the heck, we're just going to make him sparkle from head to toe. And so I did his whole beard that way. And when I was finished with his beard, I took a black marker and I colored in the black on his shoes. And then I went over that with the extra fine diamond glitter too. My idea was to place a picture in the center for him to be holding it instead of a heart. And I caught this cute little picture frame that I found at a thrift store. I cleaned it up and took it outside and spray painted it red. And I had a few pictures that Free Prints made for me. That's the name of the company, and they sent those to me. And I just cut down the one that I wanted to use to go into the frame. I just used some double-sided tape and I put it all over the back of my picture. I'm going to place my picture down first, right over the little heart that's there in the center of the gnome. Then I used my Star Bond glue and the accelerator to do the frame. I put the glue part on the back of the frame and the accelerator over the picture. And then I used the Star Bond glue, I used my hot glue to put his little nose down and to put both of his hands holding the picture. When I got his little hands and nose all glued down, I added some liquid patina all around the picture frame, and I sprinkled some of that diamond glitter dust all in it too. And that was pretty much for this piece. I did keep the very back of that picture frame because we're going to use that to just glue onto the back part, and it's going to make our little gnome stand up, and I can stick him on my little TV stand. So I used just regular hot glue, put it all over it, and stuck it on the back. It was bothering me that I didn't paint his nose and his little hands, so I used some of the new paint by Folk Art called Terracotta. It was the closest color to skin that I had, and I painted his little hands and his nose. And I felt like he needed some more kind of like an embellishment or something, so I used one of my little small black and white buffalo check bows that I got from Amazon at Christmas, and they are in my Amazon cart if you want some of these. And then I just stuck a little button right underneath that. And I hope you like this one. It was really simple and I think it's cute. If you stuck with me through this whole video, I just want to say thank you so much. I hope that everybody had a very happy and blessed new year, and I hope that we're going to have a very happy and prosperous year this year. I thank each and every single one of you guys, and don't forget that my new days are Monday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so I will see you back here on Thursday. I love you guys.